Put that in the car.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Did you consider having a bat? Daddy didn't have that trait.
You must have got that from Mummy's side.
Are we
You
on?
haven't started the show.
Yes,
yet.
we're on. A big show, as always. Full lineup and more, if you don't mind. Chom is here.
Yes.
Very good to have you.
Thanks.
Gracie
Thanks,
Egan's
Nick.
back. Hello,
Hey,
Gracie.
Back.
And,
Thanks for having
well,
me.
she's been on the show numerous times.
Oh, really?
Yes, she is back.
Sorry, Grace, my bad.
Sorry. Wow.
Bad start.
Awkward
It's a
stuff.
terrible start.
How
but that's
about
all
you
good.
just sort of...
First of the year is what I meant.
Hey?
First of 2025.
Righto.
My bad.
You just sort
Sorry,
of,
everyone.
She was on the summer series.
Oh my God.
Maybe we just
Do you even
gag
listen to
him,
your own podcast?
gag him for 10 minutes, for goodness sake. And
You're on a
probably our
talking
biggest
ban.
guest of the year. We've had Brereton, we've had Moldhouse, and now we've got the best
big gun.
broadcaster in Australia, Matty
Well,
Hill.
thank you very
He's with us.
much. Well, it's fantastic to be here. First of all, this is the best dressed podcast host I've ever seen. Our Fox crew, was particularly Dwayne Russell, has coined this man the Great Wall of Comben. So
Matt, thank
looking
you.
forward to having a chat. And Gracie clearly is bringing a lot of class and talent to the table. So I'm looking forward to talking.
Thanks.
That she does. Well, you've seen a lot of, high-class, polished media performance in your time. Matty, how did that intro go? It was kind of all over the place. He was chiming in and he had his facts wrong. I thought I was quite good.
Yeah.
A little bit of
yeah.
an
Nothing like a bit
off-the-top
of
synopsis.
self-praise is good.
Yeah, we got a beeper. That was a clusterfuck, in fairness. But anyway, play on.
Connection, not perfection, Hilly. We wouldn't have
That's
it any
how we
other
roll
way.
here.
But great to have you on and just hanging with us. We're not going to cut this out and do any guest special or anything of that. You're here for the serious chat.
The full ride.
A little bit of kind of a deep dive into you. There'll be a bit of filth spoken, no
Bit of
doubt,
filth.
and then some 80s music and everything in between, Hilly. So you're in for a ride,
Oh,
son.
80s music's that's my wheelhouse. Don't worry about that.
Very good. Right off the top, you must be, for want of a better word, rooted at the moment. The amount of broadcasting you're doing, how are you hanging in?
No, I love it. In fact, we were talking about this off air, how it's too much fun, isn't it? I mean, we get to go to the game. We're probably there 4 or 5 hours, call the game for 3. And you've been to the MCG and watched a magnificent game and walk away and think, gee, how lucky I am. So for me, I mean, my upbringing was going to the races, going to the football. They're my two loves. And I get to go and broadcast them. Yeah, okay, you do work hard. But I must say, it's the dream job. So I can't complain. It's the best life.
Matt, you speak about dream. How did you get into calling? Was it always a passion of yours when you were growing up? Were there any influences early on that kind of pushed you into calling racing, to calling the football?
Well, I think it's a great question because you always get inspired by something, regardless if you're a broadcaster or a footballer or whatever you do. You have your heroes and mentors, etc. And I'd go to the Flemington races, and the race caller was Greg Miles, and he would just boom across Flemington Racecourse. And every time he said something, he would say, and Comben's making a run at the 600, or here's Saintly up on the fence, or here's Butler's lass round the outside. And as soon as he said it, the crowd would just react. I think, what a great job. Like, fantastic. And he had this fantastic voice, and it just really wanted me to do it. And then, of course, back in that era, and Nick's probably the only one that can remember it, in the early 90s, where you'd turn on the TV and you'd have a guy like Bruce McAvey, and he'd be hosting at Bathurst, and then he'd be calling the football, and then he'd be on Sports
Jack of all
World, and then
trades,
he'd be at the races, and you think, oh, that's got to be the greatest job in the world. So I guess that was the dream. And I mean, it's a funny game, media. There's no rules to it, but you've just got to basically work hard, try and be as the best you can be, and opportunities come your way.
When did you get an inkling you might be good at it? We all have dreams. We all want to win Brownlows and play 200 games. And normally, little Johnny finds out about 15 or 16. No, that's not going to happen. The other end of that spectrum can be, hang on, I've got a talent here. Whether it's picking colours or the voice that developed. When did you think, hang on, I can do this and be really good?
Do you know what, particularly with race calling, because I really pursued it when I was 15, 16. In fact, I should have been, out at nightclubs and wagging school and doing all the stuff that kids do, But in the end, I was just going to the races and the trots, practicing into a little tape recorder. And I'd go home and I'd listen to it and I'd say, four of them were right, 5 of them were crap. We'll go back next week and have a go again. And I was never really thinking if I was good or I was bad. I was just practicing and just trying to get better all the time. And I guess I was too young to realise if I was good or bad at it. I was just determined to do it. I was just one of those people that I just wanted to do it, and I was not going to stop until I got there.
Love it. I reckon I read one of your interviews that you're naturally a bit of an excitable thrill seeker type. I think I heard you say, I might have read it, that with the racing, and I love my racing as well, and it is the only cure is death once you've got that.
Yep.
You wandered into a racetrack probably 10, 11, 12 and got this feeling that I don't know what's going to happen, but something good might happen today. And that draw, was it the adrenaline, or I might win $5,000, or I might run into someone? Is it something like that? The excitement gets you?
I think with racing and football, it's so unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen next. So that's the great thing. I mean, how many times do we look at a football game and think, well, that's going to be an absolute shocker, and it turns out to be the match of the season. In fact, you could probably argue that the two closest matches we've had in 2025 have been the cellar dwellers. It was West Coast Essendon the other day. I remember walking onto Flemington Racecourse with my family. I was about 11 or 12, and it was just all of it. I just fell in love with it. The sights, the sounds of it, the theatre of it, everything about it. And the same with the football. I was brought up at the Western Oval, standing at the forward pocket, and those days where we've relived it at Norwood and the Barossa recently in Adelaide, but it was those days where the ball would be on the other side of the ground, and the only time you knew something was going on was when the people on the hill were blowing up about an umpiring decision, and we're on the other end of the stadium going, well, something's going on over there, but we can't really see it. And that was the days that I was brought up with, and then, of course, when Footscray were playing pretty well, we'd take on a big team like North Melbourne on a Friday night under lights at the MCG, and Carey would absolutely destroy us. And then we'd go to Waverley, and Dunstall would destroy us. And those were the days we'd be...
Stephen Credier could bash someone.
We'd be petrified to go to Cardinia Park because Ablett had kicked 12, And so they were the days I was brought up with, and I guess I sort of take that... I'm one of those people that there's still that boy in me, that enthusiasm and that love of what I was looking at back then with me now.
Comes across too.
Is there one call across your career that stands out as a pinnacle? You've done Grand National in England, called Mo Farah, 5,000 metre win, football, racing, Melbourne Cup. Is there one that stands out as a pinnacle for you at the moment?
Well, I think a lot of people reckon calling 100 final at the Olympics. I did that in Paris last year. That was exciting for a lot of different reasons, because I've never... come across something so frenetic in my life. It only went for 9 seconds, and it was just crazy. There's 7 across the track, and
you can do some good things in 9 seconds.
Yeah, well,
you're on your game, Matty.
That's the Black Label segment coming up later. And we'll deep dive into that, Nick, a little bit later on.
The night's young.
The night is young, but. No, that was one. You mentioned Mo Farah. I mean, that was the double in London, which was fantastic. There's something quite amazing about those athletes. But for me, the Melbourne Cup, because you're the only person. I'll be calling football, at least if someone's meandering down the wing and I don't know who they are, I can go, Grace, who is it? Help me. Whereas, when there's a horse 4 lengths in front and there's 40 million listening, that's you're on your own. And what a tradition we have in Australia to have a race that stops a nation, and to be the voice of it's a thrill. So I'd say any Melbourne Cup, actually. I've done 8 of them, and I'm fond of them all.
Couple from me, and we've got a couple from our audience as well, which I didn't ask last week to Mick Malthouse and almost got near castrated for it. So we'll make sure we ask those tonight, Moff.
Yeah.
Do you play any footy? Even at a young
bit.
age?
Yeah.
Describe yourself as a player.
Oh, no, I was a little half-back flanker, and one of my most desperate days was I was playing Little League, and I was actually representing Geelong. We never got a choice, and I was a Bulldog supporter, and I sat at the half-back flank for the entire 15 minutes at the Whitten Oval, and the ball never came to me. And I thought, well, this football caper's no good. And then I represented Footscray the year after. Vic kicked through Little League and got 2 kicks on the MCG against Carlton.
Now we're talking.
60,000, and so that was good.
My
enthusiasm completely outweighed my ability, but I was a trier. a little blonde mullet.
Yes.
Little blonde mullet and a trier, and would just sniff a goal if I could. Little goal sneak if I could.
What sort of player are we picturing here? Ben Keys? Bit of Ben Keys.
Ben
He's a
Key,
trier.
he's got links on me in the looks department. But
I'm getting nuggety little small forward
Yeah,
kind of vibe, that little
with a
niggly
mullet.
like get into ya. Yeah.
yeah. But so no, I loved it, and you know, had my granddad make some goalposts up in the backyard, and you know, did all of that and kicked the ball around the little backyard and pretended it was the MCG, and thought I was, you know, lining up for goal and pretending I was Peter Landy, commentating it as it went through, and all
What a
that sort of
beautiful
stuff,
voice he
you
had,
know.
Peter Landy. And he did the rowing. You
He called the
are Peter
rowing.
Landy now.
Yeah, he did the rowing, and of course, I think he called the rowing when we were quite good at it. We're struggling at the moment.
Those Auskick memories are good. You're making me think. My only night of Auskick on the G was Billy's goal after the siren, playing for the Cats in
I was there.
'94.
I
He wore
was
the
there
number
that
one,
night,
Steve
yeah.
Hocking, long sleeves, and
I was a
what
13-year-old
night.
boy that cried that night. I'll tell you why. Because I had a bloke behind me, and I was a pretty softly spoken kid, to be honest. Like, I wasn't a swearer or anything like that. I just kept to myself. And there was this bloke behind us who was just Geelong. And you might remember in that final, the first 20 minutes, Gary Ablett's tearing us apart. He's ripping us a new one. And this bloke behind us is just going, show those Western ferals, what you're made of, Gary. And I got really offended by this as a 13-year-old. And, of course, as the game went on, famously, Richard Osborne kicked the goal to put us in front. And I've turned around and just went, you can stick Gary your aim right up here.
Real Bailey Smith sort of work.
Yeah, and then of course we know what happened. Straight out of the middle, up to Billy Brownless's throat, and of course I think he now says he kicked it from 75 metres out directly in front.
Goes out a metre every year, does it?
Goes out a metre, absolutely.
Billy, you are king of Geelong.
Yeah,
The
and,
monkeys off their back, Billy.
That's the one. And I was right behind the goals too. We were in the top level of the southern stand, my dad and I. And never forget it. In fact, you always remember with your team some of the tragic losses. Who do you barrack for, Gracie?
Geelong.
You're
I'm a Geelong girl. Well,
okay.
Richmond,
Well, this segment's
but
gone well then.
Geelong, growing up.
Okay, yeah. So, you always remember the tragedies, So that was a tragedy. The day Jarman kicked the goal, we were, I think, 46 in front at three-quarter time, and we were getting grand final tickets, and Adelaide ran over the top of us. I remember that one. I was there that day as well. Grown men cried that day.
Libba claims he nicked one through.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
The Libba snap. Yeah. I remember this.
So there's been you remember all of those tragic events.
We've got two players here, so we're going to grill them, and you can be sort of interviewer in a minute.
look forward
We'll
to
stop
it.
grilling you. One more from me. Well, we talk to these guys a lot about pressure in their job, and there is plenty on both of them: social media, expectation, crowds, professional athletes. For me, the 10 minutes of pressure you have before a Melbourne Cup call outweighs any of that. It is only once a year, but eyes of the nation and the world now with the obsession of horse racing in Asia, 24 colours, horses thundering for 3,200 metres. How do you settle yourself in that moment? Have you taught yourself to do it, or is it a natural thing?
The first year, I didn't know what to expect, so it was actually quite good. I thought, gee, I'm just calling another race here. Yeah, it's the Melbourne
another
Cup,
game.
but I'm going to try and enjoy it, and I didn't know what to expect. And you get very nervous. And I'm very interested to hear what the answer for the two athletes is, because I now get nervous, but then as they're going into the gates, I think to myself, well, you know what? I'm the right person for it. I've done the prep for it. I've done it for 25 years, so I'm going to back myself, and I keep telling myself that, even though I think it's healthy to be nervous. If the day I rock up and I'm not nervous in a Melbourne Cup scenario, I think it's probably time to give it away, because you want to be on the edge a bit. I think you want to be a little bit nervous because I think you perform better.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'd 100% agree with those sentiments. I still go into every game pretty nervous.
With the butterflies, yeah.
Yeah, completely, especially before the game. We get there 2 hours before the game, so the first hour I get my tape done, I go out on the ground, try to expend a bit of nervous energy, but I'm always very quiet that first hour. I actually have to kind of tell myself to come out of myself and get around the boys and kind of show excitement, because I go quite insular.
Sure.
When the game starts though, it's back to what you know. It's what you've trained, what you've learned, everything kind of just happens really. And
So it's exactly what I was
Yeah.
thinking with the. I always likened it to a player playing a grand final.
Yeah.
All that chatter for 5 days, you're getting your photos taken, and there's interviews, and there's all this stuff going on. And I liken it to. I bet those nerves disappear as soon as you touch the football.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like the Melbourne Cup. As soon as the gates open and I spit a
Same
name out,
thing.
I'm back doing what I've done. You know,
Yeah.
1,500 times a year. You know,
Are you looking for anything in particular when those gates fly open? For how the favourite or are you just on guard for anything that the listeners need to know?
probably anything unusual.
Yep.
So either a horse has missed the start. So Jack Rewald will hate me saying it, but Solcombe famously misses the start. So he missed the start in the Melbourne Cup a couple of years back. So obviously I was trying to concentrate on that early. There's been horses that are drawn wide that are looking to come across, and you know that's going to happen, or the favourite, or anything just unusual, really.
I like it. Gracie, you've been looking down at that phone for 5 minutes. I reckon you've got a good
Oh,
question
no.
here.
Oh,
Hit me-
I've got
hit
the
us with
real
it.
deal question, to be honest.
A
I've
real
been thinking
deal
about
question.
it the whole time. Is what's your go-to snack, to be honest, when you're there and
a
you're
great
commentating a game? You know, you're there for a few hours, you're getting hungry. Is there a go-to snack or drink that you go for?
Do you know what? That's a great question because you can get undone by stuff.
Yeah.
Chocolate, no good. Chocolate, no good. Cake, no good. I don't really eat cake anyway. It's not my thing. But, they'll present us, the media get muffins. I mean, nowhere near the throat for muffins. Honestly, things that get stuck in your throat, no
Yeah.
good. But I'm pretty simple. A bottle of water for your voice and a can of Coke for your energy.
Yeah, never a beer, never.
No, nothing
never
like that.
spicing it up a little bit depending on the game.
No, not really. I do like to eat before a game though because the nerves make you hungry.
Yeah.
But when it comes to food, and I'm sure he won't mind me saying this, I love the man dearly. Dwayne Russell.
Oh, my God.
The milkman.
is just extraordinary.
Milkman.
Like cans of Coke.
Oh, yeah.
Red Bulls, milk, chocolate,
Salmon, like salmon
Oh, he's
out,
not
of,
busting
out of
the
the
salmon
fridge.
out,
And I'm
Is he?
sure a lot of it's nervous
It
energy.
festers in the box.
Oh no.
Mid-game?
Oh, really?
or-
Mid-game.
Oh, you've
no.
called-
I've
You've
done a
called
couple
the
of games with
What,
him.
and you have to put up with that in the box?
He was knocking milk, a 2-litre
No.
punnet or whatever you call it. And then I'm going, that's interesting, but he's a pro, you know, maybe I need to start doing that. And then he goes, you got it for a minute here, son? You're going all right? I said, yeah, no worries, pipe. And, the Tigers have got it at halfback. And then next minute he was munging into smoked salmon straight out of the packet.
Yeah.
Like from Coles. I've never seen anything like
Good for the
it.
bread.
He
Yeah.
is amazing. The thing about what I loved about the pipe when he got interviewed on Channel 7 about it was they said to him, why do you drink so much milk? And they're trying to overanalyze it. It must be for your voice or just, it must be just for energy. And there was this all overanalyst having a look at why Dwayne drinks milk. And he goes, because I like milk. That was the answer,
Simple.
We
Just
can't
very
even
loud.
run that grab.
Yeah.
Very well,
Well,
quickly.
You better not skip past you.
I was going
No,
to
there's
say,
more,
well,
'cause
I
you're-
would
you're in
say
good
there
form.
is some questions from the 200
Yes,
plumbers.
we need them.
We'll start off with Heath Hardman. What's the weirdest thing you've ever seen at the races or the game, an AFL game, and you couldn't say while over the mic?
The weirdest thing. Well, there's usually I did see a weird thing not that long ago at Flemington. They were going off to the gates at the 1,400 metre start, which is right along Smithfield Road for those that live in Melbourne, and the jockeys were just completely unfocused. I could tell that they were looking at something up near a building across the road, and as I looked, I had the binoculars strong enough, and on about level 6 of this building was a guy basically streaking, just doing these
Butsy.
ones completely butts nude.
Was it Butsy?
Well,
It was not me.
it could have been.
Well,
Do you live on
maybe.
Smithfield
In
Road?
the heyday. No, I don't. But
And as they crossed to me, I couldn't say, or the jockeys are a bit preoccupied. Really. Their attention has been turned away.
Yeah.
There was also a scenario of, I wasn't involved, but a colleague, a Brisbane race caller, was completely preoccupied one day when, for about 4 or 5 minutes, the horses were at the gates, but they didn't move in. in. They've just walked around. And it was a country race course, so there was a golf course in the middle of the track. And these horses just walked around thinking, what's the delay? What's the delay? Anyway, the race was run, and when the race caller walked down to ask the jockeys what the delay was before the race, they said there was a couple doing their level best in one of the bunkers, and the jockeys just wanted to watch for 4 or 5 minutes.
Magnificent. As you would.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's brilliant.
All right,
Bit
second
of horizontal
question.
refreshment pre-race.
My God.
Continue, Grace. This is
All
very
right, so
good.
Jackson Peach, who is an up-and-coming caller who you think will take over the game?
As in AFL football.
Yeah.
Up-and-coming callers. Well, we've got a few at SEN. So, we've got... at SEN, we've got a bright young talent. His name's Nick Buckley.
Yes.
We've got to get him off Nuffy Radio. He's been doing Geelong Radio,
Yes, I know.
Matty,
he's
you
just,
could have taken that anywhere. You really could have.
But we've got young Matthew Cox, who works for SEN,
good call.
who's got a voice deeper than Pavarotti, and if you looked at him, you'd go, that voice comes from there. He's a great kid.
Call with him on Sunday. He's a good operator.
Good operator.
He doesn't mind a bit of a double entendre as well.
Loves an entendre.
He was quick on him, Matty.
Yeah, I'm happy
You're
with
my
that.
kind of lad.
I'm happy with that. So, I'd be certainly looking out for Matthew Cox. And Fox, we've got young Corbin Middlemass from the ABC.
Well,
very
We've
good.
got, there's heaps of them coming through. Jordan Canillis as well from SEN. So they're names that you'll hear for the next 20 years. But N. Butler,
All right.
big shining light.
You don't need a
Is there a
puppy
certain
star.
age you should start?
There's an
Or?
old saying, don't pee down my back and tell me it's raining, Matty.
Chest is just
Mate, his head is already big enough, mate. It's a big head.
Is that the end of the questions
There
from
was
the
one
floor?
more
Go.
from Jaden. Is there any sport you couldn't see yourself commentating? Or is there a sport that you would like to
That's a
do that
good
you haven't
question,
done
because
yet?
there are.
Some weird ones. You
I
love
have
snow
done some
skiing.
weird ones. Oh, I
Your-
love
your
that.
slalom skiing.
Oh, I love all of that.
Yeah?
Yeah, I love the speed. I love the Winter Olympics. Love that. But the two sports I have just never done or never been asked, but I do like. I've never called swimming, which would be a sport that would be in my wheelhouse, obviously, being a race. But I love motorsport. I love the MotoGPs and Bathurst and all that. I'd love to be involved in that in some way. The one sport that I know you're going to hate me, and it's a bit un-Australian, and I don't mind watching it, and I can go and enjoy it, but I just don't have a love/passion for cricket. It's just not my thing.
Yeah,
You'd
that's
have to be a good voice for cricket. But cricket is that game, if you don't feel it, I don't think you can bluff it.
No,
I
and
think
don't
Brian
get me wrong,
Taylor's
I love-
like that. I
I
mean,
love
Brian
watching
had a
it,
go
but-
at it, and it just didn't seem right. I'm not sure. I'd get on really well with Brian. I don't think he's a cricket lover.
No.
And you could tell in his call there was nothing wrong with it, but you have to be a bit of a nuffy to
Oh,
call
for sure.
cricket.
And I
Jared
think-
Waitley, cricket nuffy,
And
calls
cricket,
it well.
and I've got friends who are cricket nuffies who are just so obsessed with it that you couldn't trick them, and you don't want to trick them. You don't want to be in that. But it's a bit different when you're calling sports. Say a Winter Olympics when you're calling an Aussie in moguls or speed skating. It's not a sport we watch every day anyway.
Yeah.
So they really just need a commentary. But those sports that are the high profile sports
They
like
know the
cricket,
ins and outs.
tennis. I mean, I love my tennis, and I've done a lot of tennis commentary, but it does get to a stage when you're sitting there next to Leighton Hewitt or whoever, you're thinking to yourself, what am I actually bringing to the table here? You need people that have played the game. So that's where I think, for me, to be an out-and-out caller, racing and footy suits me the
What
best.
about boxing?
I've done a
Occasionally,
little
when you
bit of
get
boxing.
a big fight and they do bring out a real top-notch caller. I think Jared's done one or two. Have you? Would you?
Done a little bit of boxing with Fox, but it's again something that's very rare.
Yeah.
And I mean, who's our next big fighter? I mean, there's actually a lot of fights going on at the moment, and Ben Damon's the voice of of boxing. So no, and you get to a certain age too, where when you're in your 20s, you think, I'll have a crack at that, I'll have a crack at this, that, and the other. But as you build a profile on certain sports, you think it should just stay in your lane, really.
Good advice.
Final one before you get into it. Something's
start
come
grilling
across.
you.
That's fine. You can get to that. Something's come across my debt, Matt. You've got a photographic memory. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that? Does it help with your commentating? Obviously, it would. To what extent does it help? Horse racing, AFL.
Yeah. So a race caller can't be a race caller without one. because you just remember colours and names like that. So when we say with the Melbourne Cup with 24 runners, it is a recognition of the colour and the name of the horse. With AF footballers, you're an easy one, mate, because you're tall, tall and very easy to pick out. But you will get footballers, and Nick's called the game, Grace has called the game, that are what we would call, and this is not to be offensive to the players, they are nondescript. They look the same. You know? So the way you decipher them is either boot colours, or they might have a tat on their left leg or a strapping on their shoulder or something like that. So that stuff really helps. With photographic memory. But what people don't realise with race callers is we don't learn the colours until 10 minutes before each race.
Yeah, okay.
So when the jockeys come out, that's when we say, okay, that's Saintly, that's Farlap, that's Burnborough, and that's when you learn them. So there's every chance that I will meet someone and in 2 years' time see them again and think, I've met you. Can't quite remember your name, but I've met you.
Is it a learned
the face?
Is it a learned thing? Or is it something you're born with? No,
I think photograph, you've either got it or you don't.
Yeah.
You know, it's just one of those things. And race calling is probably one of those things you have to give it a crack, and you can either do it or you can't.
Yeah.
So how are you prepping 2 days before a race? If you're only picking up the colours then, I would have thought you were mainly kind of getting the colours in your head a couple of days before and then just freshening up when they're behind the barriers. Got you, Mr. Brightside, Saintly, whatever, another Hayes horse or whatever, or when you got the trainer's colours. Yeah. But so when does your prep start?
So for a race, say if there's 20 runners in a sprint race, I could learn the colours 2 days before, but if you plonked me in that chair as the gates were opening, I probably wouldn't be able to do it. You need to learn them on the spot. All the other prep is all the little, to use that little book you've got there, the 1%ers, as the horses are going into the gates, little things I would say, or after the race, it's good to know if the jockey's won a Group 1 race before. Those little things that you say pre and post is what you prep for. And then the colours themselves and the call is 10 minutes before.
Right. Yeah. Have you ever had a howler? I remember speaking to Bruce McAvaney.
Please.
Who, and it's going to be because you do come across it. You're about as close to perfect in a lot of ways that we get in broadcasting. You always seem in control. You're always breathing. I know Bruce said he has told this story. He completely lost focus in a trots race live. Just went blank. Couldn't pick the horses. Couldn't pick the colours. And he said it took him a while to build his confidence up again.
Yep.
Have you had a moment?
Yeah, I was similar. As a young caller, I was at Newcastle one day. Up in New South Wales, and a horse was 6 in front and just forgot it. Didn't know what it was. And everything I tried, looking at the book, and then I was trying to find its number, and it was a windy day, so the saddle cloth was going like that, and I just couldn't get it out. But I've always, it's like anything, isn't it? It's like going, having a shot at goal and missing it. It makes you down the track. Those little things that happen. I've had all sorts of things happen in commentaries. And look, we have howlers all the time. I was actually telling Charlie before, earlier in the year, I was calling a North game. And I was bunged up. I was pretty unwell, actually. Yeah. And the problem I've got is I love it that much. I hate having sickies. I hate it. I would hate to ring Fox Sports and say, you know what, I reckon I'm going to battle today. And I just thought, nah, stuff it. I'm going to battle, and I'm going to get there. And in my state of just sort of trying to get through it, I've called Harry Sheasel Cheesel, right? And someone's picked up on it, right, and threw it up on Instagram, and it's like, oh, give me a spell, like I was feeling crap, But the thing is, you have those things, all the little things that happen all the time, and then there's probably mistakes you make that you haven't realised you've made them.
Yep.
Or there's probably mistakes you've realised you've made that people don't realise you've made. There's all those different things. But honestly, the reason why we do it is because it's live and you get one go at it. And any young commentator that comes through, I say that's why you're doing this, because that's actually the attraction, is that you rock up to the football, you got 3 hours, you're with your teammates or 4 or 5 commentators, and you get one go. Yeah. And that's the fun of it.
Thrill. Feel alive. Yeah. We're not allowed to bet on footy when we commentate. do you have a punt when you call the races? A lot of race callers do, and you are allowed
we're
to.
allowed to. We can't affect the result of the race,
no.
obviously. And funnily, with race calling, it'd be a little bit like if we weren't allowed to bet, it would be like a mechanic who's got no interest in cars. You know, like you'd have to have an interest and to actually have empathy for the punter.
Yep.
You know, I was always taught the best bit of advice I was given was that we are being employed by the punter. Doesn't matter who you work for, we're employed by the punter. So if I get a photo finish wrong, I feel just as hurt as the punter because I feel I've let them down. You know, so I can punt. I would prefer to have a punt like a day like today where we're just having a day off and, you know,
Have a bit of a look.
find a greyhound race at Launceston or something.
Now we're talking.
Have a little go. Or you know, if I've got a day off, have a look at the thoroughbreds and have a bet. Occasionally when I'm calling, I like finding something at 25-1 that can win. And then ironically, the Oakley Plate this year, famously a horse called Jimmy Star won the race and come flying down the outside. It was such a great win, and I got really excited. I, you know, burst a couple of puffer valves, you know, and people are convinced I backed it. Yeah. They're convinced, and I didn't. It was just so exciting, you know. So I think that. And there was probably races where I've backed the winner and you would never know that I have. So you know.
There was a day, and I watched too many races here. I'm giving myself away.
No, you can never watch too many races.
we know, mate, don't.
Had a horse, Hello Broadcast, that won at 25.
That's right,
You owned
I
it.
owned
You
it.
didn't have a Zach on.
Didn't have a Zach
and
on
you
it.
did get it. You said, hold the phone.
Well,
Hello Broadcast.
Do you know why? We'd actually nearly sacked him.
Right.
We
Oh
nearly
my.
sacked him, and the whole so for those that don't follow racing, when an announcement is coming through before a race, every race caller picks up the phone and says, "Hello Broadcast." The Hello Broadcast box. So we named this horse Hello Broadcast because about 4 race callers were in this horse. And he was so unpredictable that in the end he ran at Sandown this day in the middle of June. No one rocked up, and I was the only person on track that was representing this horse. And I even thought, he can't win today. He can't win today. So I didn't put a Zach on him. And of course, what did he do? He won.
Yeah.
33-1.
Murphy's
Yeah.
Law, eh?
And in the end, I think Nigel Carmody, who works for racing.com, he became my co-owner, an honourable owner in the owner's
good.
room after the last race because there was no one else to have a celebration with.
Good man. No, it's
Yeah,
good
ripping
football
nice,
too.
isn't he?
Very Box
State
Hill, wasn't
League,
it?
Springvale
Springvale.
down that way. Righto, you've been
Here we
very
go.
good. We've been hard on you in the last few weeks, but you kept fronting up. You were much better. The Ruse,
Yeah, we had a bit of showing, didn't we?
you did, and there was a bit of knuckle,
Yeah.
bit of Hornet work. Let's get straight into the headline stuff. What was going on with the Hornet?
I actually don't know. I kept
You don't
out,
know.
I kept out of that one. I've just seen the vision everyone else has seen, which is Jai giving him a little bit of a bump afterwards, but I think he was trying to get under Hornet's skin. It's all in good fun. Jace is at the club. We know how competitive he was when he was at North Melbourne. Nothing has changed now with Port Adelaide. So it wasn't a tactic going into the game. Wasn't even spoken about at all. I think it's just Jai getting into him as former captain into former player.
We like that. What did you do different? Because you were saying a few weeks ago, hang on, it's not effort. That's too simplistic. It's just structural stuff. And I said, hang on, mate. No. You think you're trying, but you're not sometimes.
Yeah.
We butted heads. But that looked, I'm talking as a fan. When I watch
Yeah.
you, I'm a fan. You were trying your guts out, all of you.
Yeah. I'll revert back to what we said. I still don't think it's a effort. Obviously, comes into football at all levels you're playing. It really felt like we put a lot of effort into that game, and you put a lot of effort into every game. But as I said a few weeks ago, we're in that position because we played to our structure, and our structure held up. So we squeezed the ground better as backline. Our mids put better pressure on the footy around the ball to allow us to do that, and as a result, we're in more contests to be able to compete in them. So after the first quarter, the first 15 minutes, we were okay, and we lost our way a little bit in the last 15 of that first quarter. After that, we regrouped. I'm really proud of the way everyone regrouped and was able to come back out and play good footy in the second half of the game and pull the game back. Not to say we're not disappointed with the result, though. We would have loved to have won that game, and we're in a position to be able to win that game, having not started that well. So that's the disappointing aspect, but all we can ask is that we're in games in the last quarter to give ourselves a chance to win it, which we haven't been. So
Hit him, Matty. What do you got for him?
Well, I actually ask a question away from just the general games week by week. You asked about social media and things. I was going to ask you, how much noise do you take in? because there's so much. There's 27 AFL shows on television now. There's podcasts, obviously. There's radio stations that are just giving opinions, and then the nuffies ring up on, Finey's Final Siren and all that sort of stuff, which isn't bad listening, but but everyone's got an opinion, right?
Yeah.
So how much, as a professional footballer, how much noise do you take in? And is it good for you if you do take it in?
It's an interesting one because the stock standard answer would be, I don't listen to outside noise, but you definitely hear it. With the amount of media that's put out there and the amount that people consume, it's impossible not to see it. So,
Well, the worst ones are your mates.
Oh,
who
yeah, they
send you a
send it to you.
text.
Send
What
it
about
to
this?
you.
Hang on, Matty.
They send it to
What
us.
about
Seriously?
your 42-year-old mate who played 43 state league games who popped off a text before the game on game day?
We'll get to that.
Oh.
We'll get to that.
Very special,
you did pump that. We'll get to that.
Wasn't noise.
Yeah, you see it. So I deleted my Twitter at the start of this year purely because I had Twitter just used as a social media, but because I'd interacted with a few North fans, in the end what happened is my feed ended up just being North Melbourne stuff and shown over and over. So I couldn't actually go on there and see the stuff I wanted to see. So I deleted Twitter. It's impossible to escape. Like Instagram shows you suggested reels and feeds. Facebook's the same, gives you suggested posts. So even if you're not following like your Fox Footies, your Triple M's, all these footy classified shows, it still comes across your desk. So we were well aware last week of the heat Clarko was copping in the media. The heat our players, our defence particularly copped a lot of heat, which I'm obviously a big part of. So you do take it personally, especially the amount of effort we put in, and we see how much effort Clarko puts in behind the scenes. And we don't mean to go out there and lose by 80 points. It's unfortunate. So you take it to heart completely, but yeah, there's no getting away from that. You try to block it out and you go back to your process internally, but you definitely hear it.
How do you go at the club? Like, do you boys come in each week and it's like flat, or are you pretty good at like regrouping every week?
Yeah, that's so valid as well. Some weeks you feel a bit of a shift in it. So last week, obviously, we lost by 80 points in Good Friday game. It's a big build up to that week and we want to perform well. So there's a definite feel of flatness and disappointment around the group. But by Tuesday, we've reviewed the game and it's a conscious decision that we make to move on from that and start addressing the game ahead. So we reviewed the game today. So we've got a short turnaround. We played Thursday this week, which you'll be commentating. But after today, what's done is done on the weekend and we turn our sights to Essendon. So it's very quick. Like footy, a week's a long time. It's a common phrase you've used a lot, but a week is a very long time in football.
Well, one of the greatest jockeys Australia ever had, Wayne Harris, always said, today's newspapers are tomorrow's fish and chip wrappings. So
Right.
That's brilliant.
That's actually really nice.
Your old beaks are looking a bit worse for wear there, son. You've worn a couple on the old proboscis.
I've had a shit few days.
Proboscis.
I trained on Thursday and it was maybe 5 minutes ago and I went up for a mark and the ball went over. I ran underneath. It went over my head. I turned around to kind of get front and center and
You didn't poo yourself.
I did not shit them. No, I didn't. Big Taylor Goads turned around. He's come through the contest and his elbow's come cracked down my nose and splayed it across my face. So that was a good start to my Thursday. So I spent after training getting that realigned. And then in the second quarter on the weekend, when you break your nose, you have to go about 3 or 4 weeks without getting another hit. Otherwise, you're going to get it busted again. So true to form, the second quarter on the weekend, I got a nice knee from Power Pepper and again splattered across my face a little bit. And so I've had it put back in 2 times in the last 3 days. So
Just the old...
yeah, joys of footy. Yeah, so we've
Bang.
got this big doctor. We actually call him Biceps Benton, Mark Benton. He's got the biggest biceps you ever see. Pommy.
He's done a reasonable job, actually.
Yeah. He straightened me up pretty good. I think it's straighter than it was before. So I had surgery on it 2 years ago to straighten it up, but
It's actually not very
Oh,
good.
Yeah,
it's
it's
pretty
not
good.
even-
Yeah,
I
That's
reckon
good.
you're going in again, son. Because what happens is they think they straighten it up, but
It
your
looks- it
sinuses
looks
get
good, I
buggered.
reckon.
It's like a
To
post-footy
Kingdom
thing,
come.
though.
They'll need to
Yeah,
fix
it'll
You're
be
that
not
up.
fixing that again.
end of the year.
End of the
I
year.
reckon. I'm
You
too
need
vain.
some panel beating there, Gracie.
Yeah, but like your career. You've got your career.
End of the year. End of the year. Vanity is important.
All right.
Quick one.
I
You're,
thought you said his career needed panel.
well, I think my career
what
does
I
need a bit of panel. It's a bit of a spit and polish.
Both.
Oh God! What about your smother? What the hell was going on
bizarre,
there? It
hey.
was the ultimate 1%. Put it in the book.
Absolutely bizarre.
Put
yeah.
it in the book.
That was a stiff free kick, actually. I thought I had my legs taken out, but they called in the back. I fell on his back. And it was Cal Dawson actually said to me, he's like, get on the mark. Like, and I was like, yeah, mate, I'll get on the mark. Like, geez, you're not going to spoil one from the goal square. And I saw Power Pepper running. I'm like, Mate, he's going to be close to the mark. You might actually have a jump. And true enough, I jumped up and he kicked it into the top of my head. So absolutely bizarre. We had a laugh about it afterwards, but he'd busted my nose when I went. That was actually when I did. I went down the ball to pick it up and he went bang. So we had a bit of a laugh. But there was a bizarre game. Georgiades missed that one from 15 out.
Yeah, what was going on? And Silva
couldn't kick a goal to save himself. So it was bizarre. Yeah, it was a weird game. It really was. It was 50s going everywhere, a bit of scuff with Hornet. So bit of a bizarre game.
But it was one of those matches where I'm sure many people were having a fleeting look at the scores. And all of a sudden for a quarter, let's turn on Fox Footy because this is getting interesting.
Yeah, 100%. And it nearly went that way in the end. We had a lot of chances late in the last quarter. We just couldn't capitalise. But it is a better showing. So we look Thursday night and we look to do the same thing, being it late.
Very good. We caught up with you. We need to get you too.
Yeah,
Right? Your
what's been going on?
season
What do you want to
is,
know?
well, you're 2 weeks off. Are you fit and ready to be top 5 in the BNF again?
Yep,
She's
so
into
fit,
she's into
actually.
The Coopers. She's into the
Fit as. A few of these in the off season. It's been nice. Nah, it's been good. I'm ready to go. We go back full time in 2 weeks, which is wild. 6 months off, 6 months on in this world. So
How do you find the 6 months off? How do you keep going?
I'm pretty good. Like I'm someone that can't sit still for too long. So I'm like always doing something, working, trying to create a life outside of footy.
Yeah.
But a lot of girls I think struggle because you can't really get a job because when footy's back on, you're at the club full time. So you kind of got to find something that you can fill in the time for those months and still train and then know that when footy's back on, you got to give it your all. Yeah.
The last time I saw you pop up in my feed, you were dancing around in your smalls, kicking torps in your keenies.
Getting my rig
There must
out.
have been a bit of Delari in that.
Nah.
Yeah. How did that? Oh, that's a bit of a brave shoot, though. So you did
the
a big
budgies, I know.
budgie smuggler bikini shoot.
I know, the budgies
As
on
you
the footy
do, Hilly.
oval. They did try and
Well,
get
well
us
reports,
in.
yeah.
I know. They tried to get us in socks and footy boots for one
Not a
event,
good
and
look,
and kicking a footy at the same time. So try and do that in your budgies. That was not it, but I don't know. It was lots of fun. We did it up in Sydney. It was made a trip out of it. So yeah.
Big CC, have you had to do any modelling so far for the North Melbourne Football Club?
Not in the jocks, mate.
No, we've seen the old
budgies.
Matthew Lloyd in the bath over the time with the footballs.
Dusty in
and
the
we've
bonds.
seen-
Dusty.
Yeah,
With the Wiz Kappa pulled out a photo. Did we see that?
Oh, yeah, he
The
had the
Wiz
wand.
has pulled out a
Wiz.
photo.
He had silver foil
a
tin
retrospective
jocks on.
one. He's almost in the jock strap. Here,
Right.
It's a skimpy looking
Did you
setup.
analyse the package?
And I don't think it was his finest angle.
Might have been a bit cold, Nick.
You know what? Actually, on that note, the budgie photos that I've posted to Instagram has now gone viral overseas.
Right.
And
that
the
sounds
comments about the package that the guy I got the photo with is copying it left,
He-
right,
he
and
was
centre.
packing heat or the reverse?
No, he wasn't packing heat.
Oh, no.
And he's copying it
no.
online and
Yeah.
from people overseas. So if you want to check that out, it's-
I've had that. I did that. I had this
course you
beautiful
have.
photo. I took the family up to Noosa. I was getting a bit cooked one year. It was the bye week, and I had my
look
young
quite good in
son.
it, actually, I thought.
And I decided to. I went up to Noosa, and I go. I'm just going to get some sun on the back and rejuvenate a bit before the final. So I'm having a fish. I've got a line in the water, and he was about 1 at the time. My son in my hand, and the rig was looking all right. And I'm in the smalls. And I thought, I'm looking okay here. No, not that one.
That's a good
I
one
got
as
a bit
well.
of shit for that too. And then every comment was just about the package down
Yeah.
there. You know, it apparently wasn't in enough glory. And yeah, I'm a bit gun shy to go there again.
yeah.
Because
No,
they
fair
don't
enough.
miss you.
No, fair enough.
No.
Yeah.
Funny you mentioned the socks and boots. There's familiar saying, and we've tested out at the footy club, mind you, if you wear shoes and socks and nothing else, you feel more naked than just being naked. Can you test that, you reckon? Shoes and socks on.
When you're nude.
Yeah, nude. You
I
feel.
can imagine that.
Have a go at that tonight. You feel much more naked than when you've got
I
nothing
had a
on completely.
Yeah.
work colleague once
Yeah,
who
bizarre
deliberately
feeling.
went to work with opposite shoes on
Yeah.
to see if anyone would notice, and no one noticed
yeah.
for the whole day. Like
Yeah, I
different
don't
shoes.
think I'd notice that.
Would you
I
notice
would.
that?
Would you?
Yeah, I reckon.
Do you look down? Look at the
I-
shoes.
I-
That's the old fashioned thing to do.
I reckon anyone I look at, I just check out everything first and then I'm very detailed. So
Right.
I reckon I'd notice it.
Photographic
No
memory.
flies on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Judge, no.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I reckon I would notice
high
it.
pressure. Are you dating at the moment? That's high pressure on the young lad involved in the
No
scenario.
dating. Nah,
Really?
Nah, footy's coming up.
DMs full?
Very footy driven at the minute.
Righto. Okay. Well, quick update on me. I've had a mare today.
Oh,
I've
yeah,
had
you
a
tell us
mare.
about it.
He's had a
Oh,
big
we haven't
day.
talked
He's had
about
a
me
big
at all,
day.
Tilly.
Oh, we haven't spoken about Nick today.
It's about bloody
Jeez.
time. No,
keep
stinker
going.
today on the door stopping.
Yeah, you did, didn't you?
Had Nankervis nothing.
Which Dan Curvis?
Big Toby, the big widow maker.
I
He
was getting
actually
the crisis
came to say
messages.
g'day and gave me a handshake, which I thought was nice. And then I said, look, I'm going to stop you for a minute here just so I can bugger off.
This
and-
was for Channel Steve.
Channel 10, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't often, look, I was the scans man. We've all had to do our time. And without sort of swinging my dick around here, Matty, I rarely have to go down there these days. But when I do, I embrace it.
No,
you know, We've all got to shovel a bit of shit in this life.
sure.
And I've always thought I've
How
got
close are you to taking Steve's job?
we've sort of touching distance.
Touching distance, eh?
You can feel me.
This is not going to be like a Tony Jones Hitch thing, is it? It's going to go for 40 years, is it?
Oh, no, he's a good man. I think he's
He's a
coming
bloody
on here.
good man. In
You're
fact,
playing
And
his
you know
song.
what?
I met
He's-
Stephen Quartermain for
he's
the
too
first
good at
time
it.
last week.
Oh, really?
And I was this is the thing. People get quite overawed by sports people. I get overawed by sports broadcasters
Yeah.
that I've watched for 30 years. And primetime Saturday night basketball in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
That was just the best time to be alive. And
Goes to
Steve
Copeland.
Quartermain was the man. And met him for the first time. I was thrilled.
Yeah, no, he's not going anywhere. You know what?
He's rusted on, isn't
He
he?
never buggers it up. You know, if you read a bit of auto cue, it's harder than it looks. I'm okay. I'm not a.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm all
Apologies
right.
for this.
Yeah, I've had a couple of howlers.
Thanks, Steen. Yeah.
You know, I'm not terrible at it, but he and
Well, the secret to
He's
auto
really
is
good.
making it look like you're not reading
Yeah,
something.
and that's bloody easier said
That's
than
why you
bloody
move
done.
your head, because your eyes are actually darting around.
Yeah.
yeah, he's very good, and he still loves it. He loves to come in. He's a bit of a job from bygone here. He rolls in at 2:00 and doesn't do a hell of a lot. Just sort of buggerises round and joins in the sort of banter.
Anyway, holding Nick for a moment.
Yes.
Charlie, I was just going to ask you guys, like your playing mates,
Yeah.
who would be the prime candidate? Because why I bring this up is it's been brought up to my attention last week in some player notes that Dane Zorko wants to be in the media after he's finished playing. So who of your teammates would be prime candidates, do you think, to be Fox Footy or radio broadcasters when they're done?
I'd like to put myself forward for
Yeah,
that one.
absolutely. Yeah, one step there.
Good husky voice,
Yeah,
good looking.
yeah, for sure.
No, I love that stuff, to be
Yeah.
honest. I think in our team, I'm the one that
You're the one?
always puts my hand up. Yeah.
Ruby's
What about
done
it?
really
Well,
well.
Ruby Slash
I
has
called
done.
with her yesterday. Yeah,
She's amazing.
Yeah.
She's stepped into that field and done amazing. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or actually, Sarah Hosking is another one in my team.
She's done a fair bit. hasn't
She's
she?
on
Yeah.
Triple
M.
M.
She's got a bit of
Triple
go
M.
in her.
Yeah, and she always
She
has a
can't
good
say
joke.
McCreary,
She can't
but it's
say
really
McCreary.
funny when she stuffs it up.
McQuery.
You know
Yeah.
what? You got to own your howlers.
Yeah,
and
that's
she
why
does
she's
it
on
really
radio.
well.
That's why she's on radio, because she
That's
can
Harry
do that.
Cheesel all over it.
Yes.
Tell us from North, you reckon?
Yeah, mine's
After
been
yourself.
a left field one because we don't really have that older fella that's 32 that's like probably moving into that
Sure,
space
yeah.
soon. So I'd throw up Nick Larkey. I'm not sure he'd want to probably go into media, but I feel the way he speaks, he's got a good sense of when to tell a joke and can hold an audience really well, tell a story really well, speaks well. He'd be great in the media. I'm just not sure he'd want to do it. He has too many other interests and whatnot, but still would be brilliant. You've obviously seen the impressions he does everywhere. He does his raffer and whatnot. He has a really good sense. He can hold a room, put it that way. Yeah, he speaks well. Really well.
Good one. I'm just trying to think of any players. You occasionally get one to reach out to you late in their career for a tip or two or a bit of work experience. And Joey Montagna certainly did. I'm Joey's age. We lived near each other, played footy together, and I remember late in his career, he just started to ask a few questions. And
Well, Joey's been very smart about it. The thing about Joey is I think he's a very good commentator. I can't rate him on his special comments ability because that's a different field. But what Joey decided, and it's the shallow world of media, is that what eventually happens is the next brigade of players, ex-players come through that want to be special comments players. And he thought, well, I'm not going to be a 50-year-old Joey Montagna and be wanted.
You can get outranked.
When the Dangerfields come in and the Luke Hodges come in and all these others. So he said, I'm going to start calling. And he's done very well with it.
Yeah, in 2019 he did my Vic Metro versus Vic Country game in 2019. I think he might have only just been starting. I think, he retired 2017 or 2018? He would have retired.
Yeah.
So he would have only just started commentating then. He was quite good then, but the way he's come on since then, I reckon he's incredible, especially on the radio. He's great on Triple M. Got a good knack for it.
His ID's good.
Anyway, back to your really hard game.
I was just saying I'm in a rough patch, Hilly. I reckon I need to run over the jumps. I've had a howler on Thursday night. How about this for a howler, right? So I'm knocking out the live crosses, which is as the great Mike Larkin says, you think you're going all right, but you never get good at it, right? When those 1 minute compacted crosses on the TV and you can nail 90 of them, or I don't really like the word nail. You get through them with a bit of personality and you're telling your stories, and then you fuck one up, you're back to a bit of ground zero on the confidence, right? So I've got, I've done an Anzac one for news, Anzac Eve, which was all about the solemn night and what's going to happen with the ceremony under lights and the like. And it was okay. It wasn't my finest work. I tried to do a bit of a red gum, only 19 gag late in the piece. It kind of fell flat. That was a 6 out of 10 start at best. I thought, right, onto the sport, right? And I had to quickly grab a Tigers assistant coach, and they said, look, obviously we're not making any light of the very, very serious Noah Bolter situation. I said, absolutely not. I'll ask footy questions, and obviously there's a crossover between what Noah's going through and footy, but no, we're bloody playing in the V. So, but I was a bit rattled. There's a few tech issues and the like. So I've had young Sam Lonigan from the Tigers, assistant coach, offering his time, and this is what I've come up with live. Sam, look, big week for the Tigers, but Noah Bolter aside, you must feel you're a puncher's chance tonight.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, I'm thinking, what the fuck have I done there? And he's
heavy.
looked at it, and I get on pretty well with Richard. I do a few, and I don't do this much. It was one of those pre-rec live crosses. I said, call that, sorry. No, we're
Lucky
going
it was
again.
one of those.
Hey? He was good
What
about
was his
it.
reaction?
No, he was all right. And because I am a bit of a friend of the Tigers,
Sure.
He went, what are you doing there, Butts? And he answered it very professionally. And I said, oh, shit, I just realised what I've said.
Oh, no.
We're going again. I could have said any analogy other than puncher's chance, and it worked. So,
not good.
holy shit. And then and I just sort of bowled in on a Monday, this week will be better. And then I tried to hit up your mate Zerha today to just wave me off, and Nankervis virtually gave me the stiff arm as well.
I was getting the crisis messages today.
Well,
I really was.
What do you got?
Text him, ! 4 times. Say it's my all-time worst. Even Dusty gave me more. Maybe it's time. Maybe time I give it up. Might become a media manager. Text Bull, please
You were
text
getting
him.
really low in
I
confidence.
was spiralling.
seriously.
Tell him I couldn't stop a taxi.
I shouldn't have played that card. I'm not sure we can read that out, Charlie. I'm not sure we can read that. Shit. No, I didn't. It was shit. I don't think we can run that.
No, we can't. We really can't.
Bloody hell.
Anyway, you
Scully
did
beer.
say maybe you could
I'm
doorstop
only
Traipsy
asking.
to get some
Yeah,
feedback.
I need a soft kill. I need
You're
to go out
going
to
as-
Wangaratta and get a soft
Every
kill.
time I see the Prime Minister on the TV at the moment, he's being abused by hecklers. You're almost just as bad on the doorstep.
Yes.
You're having no luck at all.
I'm soft on him too. Dusty was hard. I chased Dusty to the car once, and we've got the grab.
Yeah.
And in the end, he gave me nothing. So I thought I'll just make a grab here. And I said, hopefully, just tight, mate. About the hammy, and he just pushed up the window.
So good.
Oh my.
But that's Dusty. You don't expect to get that from Zerha.
I'd like to see. So, would you like to be that, like a current affairs journalist chasing dodgy accountants up the road on the back of a ute and all that sort of stuff?
No, Hilly, but I just feel every now and then because
Is it an
I'm
adrenaline
not
rush?
a little bit. I'm not Stephen Quartermain. I think it's good to have the hand on the tools. Okay, and so look, I'll go
Doorstopper's
down
not
there,
it, mate. Just get
it's
to
better than
training.
bloody digging holes. I'll sit out the front of scans, write a few emails, chat,
Watch TikTok.
bullshit to the cameraman, and when the funny thing was. The cameraman, I had him on watch today. I said, look, mate, I've got a few things to do here. Just let me know if a big fit bloke rolls in. And the bull Zerha rolls in. He goes, no, big tat, look like Bikey. And I said, no, that's her. Get the camera.
Well, yeah, I won't tell you who, but you missed one of the other boys as well. So
Did I?
All of that fly.
Who?
Oh, well, I'm not going to out them on radio, am I?
Yeah, well, I gave it away after that.
Speaking of, you could have got Drapes last week again.
I thought better of that.
But should we hear from the great man? Should we get an update on the big fella?
Oh, we better.
What do you reckon?
I feel like there's been some sort of a baton change in the hosting here.
Oh, it has been.
I think,
I
Charlie,
know.
as they would say in old parlance, throwing down the gauntlet.
Oh,
Throwing
shit,
down
no.
the goal.
Might piss on it and throw it back.
Hello there, 200 plus community. It's your boy Drapes here. Just want to let you guys know that I'm going okay. I'm just recovering at home at the moment with my foot up. I appreciate all the messages and kind words you guys have sent me. They definitely put a smile on my face. But yeah, I'm pretty flat, but I'll be back soon and enjoying the pod with the boys. And yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks, guys. Love you. Bye-bye.
Oh, we love
On your
Drapes
Drapesy.
too, don't we?
Yeah, miss him. Jeez, he sounds sore.
Yeah.
Oh, my wife did one, reckons, the first
Oh,
week. The first week's a nightmare with the Achilles. I was
Yeah.
quizzing her on it today. She goes, well, every move. So the poor bugger is probably feeling pretty crooked.
Do you think that in 5-10 years' time, the snapping round the corner is going to be known as the Draper?
It could
He's just
be.
about
I mean,
made it
Stevie
his
own. The way
J
he holds it's
kind of
bizarre.
invented it, didn't he? I reckon he was the first that, but
Harry Mackay did it for a fair
from the
while.
boundary.
It's just the way he holds the ball is just
Someone else
Yeah.
is doing that
it's
now.
ridiculous. Yeah.
In the game I called, someone did the platter. The Heaney. Heaney started doing the platter.
Platter.
So it is catching on.
It must give you a way to drop the ball really straight, but I can't see myself doing it. I'm a looks man. I like to look nice when kicking the ball as well. Again, quite vain.
I tell you, it does look shit house if you miss.
Yeah.
In the end, if the fingers go up, who cares?
That's right.
But yeah, you can miss a drop punt from 35 with a bit of grace. Kick through the ball, EJ Whitten statue style. But a miss snap, you normally bally them too, and they turn into torpedoes, and it's just no
They
good.
go all over the
Yeah.
joint. Yeah. No,
That's
fair
it.
enough.
Right, have we got another voicemail, Moff here? Something's highlighted for me.
I can play it. It's
Well, if it's shit house, don't.
it's just Willie Taylor, but
Is it
what's
any?
it?
Why is it on the rundown?
it's good. But
Righto, play it.
Play it.
Yeah, right. Then
We're
we'll
at
double time
55.
at home.
We're at
Sorry.
55 already,
Well,
yeah.
Hilly's been very good.
Oh, we could have Hilly for 3 hours, I reckon.
G'day, boys. It is your fearless ruck crummer, the ruckman's best friend, Will Taylor. I just wanted to give you boys a massive wrap. This season has been one of the best, in my opinion, boys. Butsy always bringing the A game. Moffitt, I love his cheeky one-liners and his tidbits as well. Drapes, if you are there, mate, I'm spewing for you. I was crying and throwing up when I saw it all unfold. So, wish nothing but the best for you, Chommy, mate. I was crying, screaming, throwing up when the shin boners couldn't get it done on the weekend, mate. But you boys have been absolutely awesome. It's really helped me get through my rehab through my ankle injury. So big raps to you boys. Do it for all the other plumbers out there, not just for me, but keep it up, boys. Absolutely love yous.
On you, Willie. Might have to condense that a bit. It was very long in the
The boxer.
delivery,
That was a long one.
but it's
Lots
it's
of
very
vomiting.
nice
And a
feedback.
fair bit of chundering going on.
Well, what's going on there? Because he's got a crook ankle too, Big Willie. Willie Taylor's work. He's a social media sensation. Very funny man. Yeah, I was doing a bit of promo work over at Albert and Oval. In a bit of a one-on-one in the cage and completely did the ankle.
Yeah, not good.
badly.
Done a good job of it.
No.
Okay.
So there we go. 200 plus membership, they're going off. I think we've sold 174 out of 200 and the key rings have been dispatched and it's a bloody good offer. So you get a member-only key ring with your number on it.
You get
First in, first served, 200 only.
You get exclusive video podcast content each month.
That's right.
Plumber shout out in a 200 plus episode.
That you do. You get 20% off all 200 plus merch. 43 State League game T-shirts. There's a few of those. We might give Hilly one.
You get exclusive behind the scenes content.
and an early ticket access to 200 plus live events.
And there is one of those, Gracie. You might be able to come, actually. You're not training for a couple of weeks. So St Andrew's Brewery, Melbourne Park, is the live event on Thursday. It was supposed to be at another venue, but we've moved it. Now, we've had to have a bit of a change because we were going to do a bit of a thing, Hilly, and really rip up the rule book. So the crowd, and I'm sort of running this function, you tell me if you like this idea. We thought in a bit of sort of Eagle Rock kind of spirit that if Drapes takes a mark and then turns sideways to snap, everyone drops the strides.
Right.
Pants down Drapesy.
Okay.
in public.
But I think we're rethinking it. Maybe not.
Why don't you
isn't
go the
blind,
modern
so-
way? Isn't there this chicken jockey thing the modern
Well,
thing?
it is,
Like
yes.
that? So if he kicks a goal,
Minecraft
everyone
I don't wanna
starts
throw
to
shit
throw
everywhere.
stuff everywhere.
Very up with it, Matt.
I
I don't know.
like
Well,
it.
Drapes is out.
It's a
So we
great
can't.
idea.
What do you reckon about? You've been at the pub where they play Eagle Rock. Everyone just drops their strides. It's
You know
No?
what?
What
Actually,
What pubs do you
yeah,
go
I've been.
to?
I feel like
Usually,
it's a
my
country
pubs sing
thing.
the horses and then we go home pissed at 1 a.m. I don't know what. I don't know what. Really?
yeah, they do a bit. I think
country
they do.
thing. They
It's
do
a
it down
country
south.
thing, yeah, I reckon.
Do they do
It's
this in
big.
Or
sale?
weddings.
Anytime
Weddings.
Eagle Rock
Weddings.
comes on, the ducks come down.
Yeah.
Pants go down.
In the jocks.
Anyway, he's
in the
not
ham hocks
playing,
and-
so
yeah,
unless we
go.
nominate another player and do it when Cole Langford takes them over, we drop our dacks. But that's not going to have the same appeal. I think we hold
No.
the fire, Hilly.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But
Return
we're going to
game.
do something if you take 10 marks.
10 marks.
All right,
I
that's a
didn't
lot of
take-
marks.
I didn't take one on the weekend.
So-
I had 10 spoils.
Yeah. Well, why don't we make it 8? Hilly, you can come up with it, right? So I've got a live crowd. We're going to entertain them. We'll have Joshy Jenkins to.
So this is whilst Essendon and North Melbourne are
playing. It's a
On Thursday
watch-along
night.
party. St Andrew's Brewery. We're going to preview the game. We're going to have a big raffle. There's going to be an auction. I don't mind a bit of bush auctioneering. We've got some merch, signed merch from him and him. A few of my 52 Geelong jumpers, number 52. From getting thrown up.
From him and him.
Sorry,
Well,
you.
the 50s are becoming a bit popular.
They are, they're heavy numbers.
Gray played for the Tigers the other day with 50.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And I've got a story on that in just a moment. So anyway, good. There'll be some blood and BO on that one. So auctions, raffles, the works. It's going to be bloody good and only $40. Gracie, and you going to be there or not?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Excellent.
Wouldn't miss it for the
I
world.
wouldn't miss it for the world. I actually wouldn't. The way you've described it sounds amazing.
You wouldn't not want to miss it. Now, what do we do for him? All right, if he takes 8 marks. Something not as rude as dropping your dax. I'm with you. I think
No, I
that's a
thought the
bit
chicken
blue.
jockey idea was quite good, but
Gracie,
Scully,
you're good.
Scully.
You're young and hip and into it. Give us something.
No, I honestly reckon the chicken jockey thing's unreal. Everyone just
I
stands
don't know
up
if
and
we can be
throws
throwing
something
shit
around.
in
like,
the brewery. No.
get the tops off. Why don't you just do the other way around or something?
Get the
Scull a
tops off.
Maybe
Maybe we scull.
have a
They've got it
shoey?
putting on a tab.
Yeah, Shuey.
Shoeys?
Shuey?
shoey.
happy with that?
Shoey's a great idea.
I think we're happy with that.
I'm worried that you think shoeys are disgusting, but seeing maybe a 72-year-old bloke just dropping his pants for Eagle Rock is actually okay.
Fantastic. Now, quick one on the 52. Now, I have to say this because I'm a bit blown away by this. Almost to the point where I actually had to ring my father, who I rarely ring for advice these days, but I popped in for a quiet beer yesterday after calling the footy, as you often do. The gardener just there in Hawthorn. And there was a bit of a crew there. And a bloke I didn't know. And just midway through my first pot, and he goes, "Did you play for the Cat Seconds many years ago? I've seen a bit of you. This is no bullshit. All right, and I can ring 3 blokes
I've heard it
that'll back up this story. All right, let me finish." And I said, "Well, it's a matter of fact, I did. Yes, I did. About 18 games there in the twos. I was quite happy with my performance. 06, 07, 08.
Just about
in
18.
the 52. Anyway, he goes, "This is going to sound really weird, but I wore number 52 before you in 2004 and 2005. And I'm sorry if this is a bit direct, but do you have any jumpers?" And I said, "Yeah, I've got 3 of them. I always knocked one off every year, or they'd give them to you. I've got 2 short sleeve and a long sleeve, 52. And they're quite special." And he goes, the other part of the story, he's actually a very prominent DJ now, this bloke. One of the best DJs in Australia. I don't know many DJs, but this guy's good.
What's his
I'll
name?
get to that.
Okay.
He says, "Could I buy a 52 jumper off you?" I said, "They're in a sweaty footy bag in storage somewhere, but I have 3. I thought he was taking the piss. And he goes, "Mate," he came up again and said, "Mate, I'm not taking the piss. It would mean a lot. I was really proud to play a few games. I don't have a jumper. Could I buy one?" Kanga, Laurie Nash. And I thought, I rang Dad. I go, "What do I do? Do I give it to him? Do I charge him? Well, do I say bugger off, you weirdo? Well, what do we think?
Oh, you haven't gone through with
No,
it yet?
well, he said, mate,
He
I'll
sounds like
reach
he's
out.
pretty legit.
It's a bit like an old set of binoculars or something. Well, what do you do with it? He's legit.
I know
I think
these
I'm
jumpers
leaning
mean
to giving it to the bloke.
these jumpers mean a lot to you though, don't they?
When
They
you
do.
only play
Yeah.
43, Hilly, and you tried your darndest, they're about all you've got.
He's
Footy
probably
wise.
feeling the same. Isn't
Yeah,
he? I reckon you gotta
I've
give
got
it to him.
empathy for the bloke.
You got to give it to him.
Do I?
Don't charge
Moff, what do
him.
you reckon? Maybe we get him on.
Everything's got a price.
Keep one short sleeve, one long sleeve, and give the other one away.
Should we do a live jumper presentation
Well, I
next
think
week?
we've got to at least make it work and bring him in and get
Everything's got a price, you know. Like, remember, this is an old reference. Nick could remember. There used to be a show called "Don't Forget Your Toothbrush" on TV. And what they would do is get someone out of the audience completely unwillingly, and play a prank on them, and try and bribe them to win money. And there was this woman one night, and Tim Ferguson was the presenter.
Good presenter.
And he said to her, "What does your wedding dress mean to you?" She goes, "No, it means everything. Means absolutely everything. I'd never get rid of it. No, I got married and that was the greatest day of my life. Never get rid of it." He said, "Well, guess where it is now? It's on the back of a car at Calder Park Thunderdome. We're about to drag it up this road if we give you 15 grand." Yeah, okay. She goes, yeah. The wedding dress didn't mean that much. So I reckon for a little bit of Arthur Ashe, I reckon you could certainly get rid of one of those jumpers.
Yeah, certainly for a bit of Arthur. I could.
Give it to him. Give it to him. You've got to. For free.
I've got a pair of old Geelong Footy Club Speedos. Oh, he might be willing to pay high dollars for those.
Get a photo with him
What sort of
first.
customer I'm dealing with
Extra
here.
small.
Anyway, I digress. I've gone a bit off here. We better straighten things up with a bit of a Chom's nugget.
Yeah, let's do the nugget. All right. So we had some good feedback, Moff, last week on the nugget. Did you get around to watching that, Nick? You wouldn't have.
I
You're
did. I
Did
watched
you?
the shorts of it. Yeah. Was
yeah.
it the climbing?
Yeah,
Mountaineering.
What was your favourite part?
No, I'm not quite there, but I did have a read about it.
Yeah, quite good,
I'm a
wasn't
bit
it?
time poor at the moment.
Yeah, that's you can say no.
No, it's on my list.
Okay.
Thank you.
We've
Very
had some
diplomatic.
good feedback on the Nugget last week, which is 14 Peaks, mountaineering documentary on Netflix. This week, we're going back to a track. We've got a Radiohead song this week called All I Need. It's off their 2007 album In Rainbows. Quite a dark, atmospheric song, great piano that kind of lifts towards the end of the track. Some of Radiohead's best work for mine, and Radiohead's one of my favorite bands. So check that out during the week. The Nugget this week is All I Need by Radiohead.
There we go.
Nice little succinct
So you
one.
got any idea what he's talking about there?
Well, it's music, obviously. You've got to love music because there's no right or wrong answers. It's very subjective. And anyone, in fact, my mum always put it succinctly. She said to me, she just out of the blue one day, she just said, anybody who doesn't like music's just got to have something wrong with them. And I thought that's
Facts.
actually a fact, isn't it?
What would be your go-to song to like get you in the game?
Well, to be honest, I'm everything from Pink Pony Club to all the way back to Roxy Music and
Yeah, that's good.
going back to the 80s and 70s. So I'm a bit of everything. But if I listen to music 24/7, I adore it.
What was the
But
last
I would
concert
be more
you went to?
last concerts. Actually, I'm going to one in about 3 weeks' time. Alison Moyet, who was a great singer of the 80s from Yazoo.
Give us what's the best?
Is It Love was a big one.
Oh, yeah, it's a tune.
Love Resurrection was
Right.
another one. This is when you were just a fledgling footballer, probably.
Yeah, well, didn't work out.
Completely lost on our younger audience, of course. No, I've been to that many concerts, I lost count, but probably the best concert I've been to, Coldplay can put on a concert. They were fantastic.
It's almost an event, isn't it? Yeah.
It's an event,
Yeah.
I listen to music all the time. Icehouse.
Oh, yes. We might
All
go
that
out
Aussie
with a bit
stuff.
of Ice
Farnham.
House tonight. Great Southern Land.
I'm happy with that.
Or something similar. What about Electric Blue?
I'm happy with that.
Yeah,
we've done that. No, we've done that.
No, who cares? We
We've
might
already
do
done
it
it.
again. Righto.
Bit
that
of
was-
Ivor Davies, yeah.
that was very good. But it won't be as good as this. It's time for Moff.
Wait, you ready
Tell
this
me
week?
something, boys. Something I haven't heard before.
Is that you?
That's me. I like
You're
to make my own
so
stings.
good.
Oh, I like it.
Yes, thank
You're
you.
so
So
good.
tell me something, boys and girls. All of you are doing this. Hilly, you can tell me something I
Well,
don't know
learned
as well.
something. Well, I was talking to Charlie before we came on air.
Yes.
And the loveliest thing about this podcast, Gracie, is we didn't know when we were on air or off air, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we were off air. And we were talking about Charlie's impending travel in the next 12 months. And I love travel. We love cities around the world. London's my favourite place. I adore the place.
Brilliant, hey.
Did you know that 55% of the London tube is underground? Only 55% of it.
Oh, really?
Right.
So 45% of the underground is
Overground.
overground.
I would have said 90 if you asked me.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
That's a good one, Hilly. That's what
That
it's
is-
all about.
that's
I
a
feel
good tell me
smarter.
something.
Gracie, what have you got? Come on.
No,
And shirkers.
give me another second.
Righto.
I'll chop her out. I've actually got two now. I was going to go with this one, which is it's a bit boring. But since breaking my nose on Thursday, that's taken my tally of broken bones from 25 up to 26.
Wow.
And if you count the weekend, which I don't know if you can, it's probably already broken. It's just moved. But I want to push it to 27 almost. You're breaking your nose twice in 2 days, but I think it was already
You
broken.
want to break another bone this week? So we-
No. I'm saying because I did it Thursday and then again Saturday. Is it 27 or 26?
No, that's a break.
26 different bones or doing it 26 times?
26 different bones.
Yeah, so you've broken the same bone.
But Hilly talking about concerts actually brought me to Saturday night. I'm going to see a band called Slow Dive, 90s shoegaze band at Festival Hall in Melbourne. It's the first time I've been to Festival Hall.
You'll stick to the floor, the old sticky
Yeah,
floor.
So,
I went and
I'm excited.
watched
Yeah.
Who sings Millions of Peaches for free? Remember them? Can someone Google? I went to see them at Festival Hall. There was a big punch on. Blokes were crowd surfing. It was nuts. They were big for about a year. That was their big hit.
Millions of peaches.
Peaches. The Presidents of the United States of America.
That was their hit.
That was their hit.
One hit wonders.
Yeah, do you want to play it? Fire it
It
up.
was released as a single in
This was 95, I went, I reckon.
96. They released a single, so
Moving to the country.
Gonna eat a
lot of peaches.
Moving to the country, gonna eat a lot of peaches. What a weird bloody song.
That would have got a run on 3TR sale when you were growing up.
Absolutely
Charlie,
would
eh?
have. Absolutely.
Good. And finish, Gracie, because I don't want my segment to die.
I'll just give you a fun,
do
a
whatever.
fun fact. Let's just do that. How about my dad just got inducted into the Hall of Fame in Shepparton? What about that?
That's a good
Fantastic.
fact.
Yeah.
What was his career? Like
He was
Shep
BMX.
Bears?
He was a BMX rider.
BMX?
Yeah.
Is this like a Shepparton? Shepparton has its own Hall of Fame?
Yeah, he's been inducted into like the,
Oh, the BMX
Australian
Hall of
one, the BMX one, and now there's one in Shepparton. So, he's
So
just put him
racer or doing flips or
racer.
Wow.
Racer. He won 2 world titles. So
What era was that, Grace?
Good.
1880, what is it?
1980.
1986 he won it.
So in fairness, he's a bit
1986, sorry.
So he's a bit stiff because
He just before
because
the Olympics.
was in 96, was it, or 2000? When did
No,
we have
90s, 96.
When did the Olympics have put the BMX in?
maybe Atlanta? Did it? Oh, it might have been.
But anyway, he's a
Atlanta.
bit stiff that he never became an Olympian.
I know.
Did he
If you
make a
look at
dollar
him-
out of it?
So another fun fact, he was sponsored by Vans,
Oh yeah.
but he used to get bullied for it because they
Oh.
weren't cool. They weren't cool enough. So
It's just before
Yeah.
his time. He was a trailblazer.
everything was before his time. And he was he had a mullet, orange hair, everything, and that was uncool too.
What's
so.
he rocking now, clothing wise? Is he dressing up? Is he in the big
No,
baggy
no.
jeans?
He's
or?
in like the old Adidas bike. He puts blue with like red with like a Freo hat.
How
'cause
old
my
is
little
he?
sister's at
How
Freo
old's
now.
your old man? Is he?
He's 58 now.
Oh, yeah.
So if he was like that now, he'd be the coolest dude on earth.
Coolest dude. I
Yeah.
look at photos of him now and think he would have been so cool. And he just was before his time.
Is his
Yeah.
body stuffed from it? Knees and
He
your break
actually-
bones doing that.
So
surely.
wild. He lost a few fingers from it.
Oh.
Yeah. He fell off his bike and then went to land. And like as he went to land, got caught in the chain.
Does he know Kamikaze?
But like,
Remember
pardon?
Kamikaze, the
No,
man
no,
that
no.
changed his name at the London Olympics? He was the
Yeah.
BMX rider and he decided to change his name by D-Pole.
D-pole. I do. I remember reading it. Hey, that was a good one, Grace.
Anyways,
Glad
well
you-
done,
glad you
Grace.
didn't sit on that.
Yeah.
I think
That
we're
was-
almost there.
we're
Hilly.
there.
We've probably gone overs.
Oh, sorry about that.
No,
Can I come
no, it was
back?
our fault.
Can I come
you
back?
Finish it. You can.
Absolutely.
I
Come
think
back.
you can bloody host the
back.
show. But
I've been on a couple of podcasts the last month or two, quite high-profile podcasts, and quite frankly, got fuck all. At least I got a Coopers. Well
Do
done.
a little cheers then,
Well,
boys.
no, we've got a bit
Hilly.
more.
Never
We've
said
got a bit
that.
more.
Slowly.
So we know you
Two
love
things to present you with.
Yeah, well, we know you love a Scotch and
that's
Coke
very-
on a
Yeah.
Sunday. So there's
That's
a
so
nice
kind.
bottle.
There you go.
And a
There's
200
the
plus
card.
hat.
Magnificent. I was going to
Yeah.
become a member, so that's fantastic.
And that's for you.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. See, people think I'm a Scotch drinker, which I do, but I mix it with Coke.
well, that's
so
all right.
it's sort of a lot of Scotch drinkers that go, "Oh, disown him," but that's very kind. Thank you very much, and that really does throw down the gauntlet to people like Mark Howard and Will Schofield, and people who lift your game.
In all seriousness, our audience was so pumped to have you.
Oh,
we
that's
were
very
asked
kind.
a few of their questions, plenty of ours. Mate, you're a marvel. Even when I bloody do my ass on a Saturday, it sounds good losing. You call them over the line. When I'm back and losers.
Let's just hope on Thursday night primetime football and Essendon's 4 in front with 20 seconds to go. Kick it centre forward. Combat!
Drop your decks!
Combat's got it. Lines up. He's got it. It's one of the great wins. Let's just hope.
There we go.
Shoey. Someone get the shoey out.
One more request from me. I got Joel Brooks from SEN today to say Stephen Quartermain and I can call a game in the next month.
Brilliant.
And
brilliant.
I think you can look down that barrel and say,
Yeah.
Brooksy.
Brooksy, lift your
dream team
game.
here.
There'll be a Shivers in it for you. And I reckon I'm very, very... I can't wait. I'm going to put in a request right here, right now, to also call a game with Stephen Quartermain.
Piss off.
Very good. Are we singing it out?
Yes,
Bucks?
we're singing it
I've
out.
got your electric blue up for the second
Oh,
time.
no.
You
Fire it up, please.
You got a short
Are you
memory.
singing?
Oh, you're so are you, Grace.
Oh,
singing.
yes,
Very
karaoke
hard to
version.
compete with
Yeah, we
Ivor
all sing.
Davies, it must be said.
Are we all singing?
Yes,
should
we are.
have some
Do what you
lyrics, I
can.
If a boy had a chance with someone like you,
This is so fun.
Absolutely magnificent.
Are you gonna break his heart?
Get it, boys.
Let him cry for the moon.
Combat from 40 out.
Are you hiding somewhere behind those eyes? Very low.
Yeah.
How are we going to go this high bit?
I just freeze.
I just freeze every time you see through me and it's all over you. Electric blue on my knees, on my
Jesus,
knees.
it's high.
Sing it
Listen,
high.
baby, tell me what can I do? Electric blue. Well done.
Yes,
Let's do it.
we're
Let's
going
do
to
it.
Fantastic.
That
Cheers.
was good.